All right, let's go back to the oil price crisis in Alberta and bring in the leader of the official opposition. He's no stranger to you, and he's got his own views on what must be done differently. United Conservative Party leader Jason Kenney joins us from Edmonton. Jason, you want to lock oil in the ground. The Premier didn't say yay or nay, but how much do you want to lock in and why?
Well, Don, right now we're looking at what many are calling an economic emergency. One oil patch leader said that it's a 5-alarm fire. Another said if we don't fix this massive price differential quickly, it will be a financial catastrophe. We are selling Alberta oil at its lowest level in our history, $12 US. Today, which is the lowest real inflation-adjusted level in our history. This is costing the Alberta Treasury upwards of $7 billion on an annualized basis. And here's the most concerning part, Don. If we don't find a very quick solution to this $40 price differential, then the companies are losing money right now. It costs them more to produce and ship the energy than they're getting in payments for it. So they're in a negative cash flow position. They're going to strip out their capital budgets. That means a huge reduction in drilling activity. That hits the service sector and all these little companies and businesses all across the province. We're talking about potentially major layoffs in the next few months if we don't get this right. So I'm a free market conservative. I'm the last guy to propose government intervention, but I do believe that since government's created this mess, they've got to be part of the solution. One way that we could get an increase in price, get some cash back in the business, would be through a coordinated 10% reduction in production. That would be about 400,000 barrels a day.
Wow. Now, you've got an election in the spring. Would this be, if you win, would this be part of your first 100 days of change that you're talking about?
Well, frankly, it may be too late next June to take action. I mean, this requires immediate action. So and by the way, Don, I've written to the Premier offering to develop ideas like this in a completely nonpartisan way. This is an economic emergency for Albertans. It's bigger than partisan differences. So I hope that the Premier will listen to what the industry is saying and take our idea in good faith. What I'm proposing, Don, you probably wouldn't expect from a guy like me, but the truth is that the whole history of Alberta's energy industry was developed with government controlling production, so it didn't massively outstrip our ability to ship oil. That started in 1947 with Ernst Manning. He did that, that carried on till the 70s. Peter Lougheed brought in what's called rationing to deal with the National Energy Program in the early 80s. Every other country does this. Even Texas does it. So, you know, I think it's right. The asset doesn't belong to the oil companies. It belongs to Albertans. And right now, we're giving it away, a multi-billion-dollar transfer of wealth from Albertans basically to U.S. refineries.
Jason, does buying a bunch of locomotives and a bunch of tankers to get the oil to the coast, is that a stopgap measure? Do you think it's a worthwhile initiative, or how do you look at it?
Well, it might help a year from now when additional rail cars come on stream, but it doesn't help with the emergency we're facing right now. In the next couple of weeks, these companies are going to be making capital spending decisions for the first quarter of 2019, and if they don't see some relief in sight in terms of the price, there's going to be significant layoffs. So I'm not against. Look, the industry is projecting that without government assistance, there will be more rail cars shipping more oil. Next year, they estimate generally that an extra couple 100,000 barrels per day moving by the end of 2019. And in addition, we do hope that Enbridge's Line 3 replacement, modernized pipeline, will be shipping another 370,000 barrels. So we should be in what's called a market equilibrium by the end of next year, but that's not going to solve the immediate challenge, which will result in layoffs and business failures if action is not taken immediately.
If I may, one final question on this. We've talked before about Alberta alienation,
sure,
almost flirting with separation, and I hear this a lot more, my friends out there. Is there a real threat, or is this just frustration with the status quo?
No, this is a real threat, Don. I'm talking to button-down experienced old hands in the energy sector. They've seen ups and downs. They've never seen anything like this before. The average price differential for Alberta's oil through history is like $15, max $20 a barrel. It's $40 a barrel now. When you used to cover the legislature here back in the day, Don, the inflation-adjusted price would never have gone below $25. We're selling it at $12 right now. So this is a bona fide. We have 180,000 unemployed Albertans. Unemployment's been going up for 6 straight months. We had record bankruptcies and insolvencies during the recent downturn. If we don't fix this right away, we're going back into a double dip recession. I'm not trying to be alarmist about this. This is what I hear from everybody in the industry. It is time for all hands on deck, and that's the reason I'm proposing a short-term and I think relatively modest reduction in output until we can get the market back in balance. We're sitting on, by the way, 35 million barrels of Alberta oil in a glut in storage right now because of the bottlenecking. We need a short-term solution to this.
All right, Jason Kenney, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate this.
Thanks, Don.